Alright, I've decided that's what I'm going to do. Just pin the back and pin this one here. So this is some nice light wood. It's a hard wood, I'm not sure what it is. Came off a chair. And I could make the back spacer and I could make the scales out of that too. Well, hello, another day. This is as far as I've got. I stayed late last night, and what I decided to do was abandon the idea of this kind of scale where I screw through here and the scale and the and the screws are shown. I've decided to pin this, which I've done, drilled through, put a back spacer in, pinned it, and then I've shaped this one on here, and that will go on there. But I'm trying to get this right before I do and go and grind the bevel on here, because if this doesn't work, what's the point? So let's get on with shaping this, and I'll be with you again very shortly. Well, good morning. Another day's passed. I don't think I'm going to show you much of how I glued this on, because it was a very clumsy, very messy thing to do. and I won't be doing it again. And I'm glad I didn't get any in there. So it shouldn't take too much of a clean up, because I do have to still profile a little bit. So I'm going to clean up along here, and then once I sharpen it, that's going to be finished, I suppose. So once I start that process, I shall be back again with you shortly. Oxide powder, that way. But let's just drop that in there. I'm not quite finished with it yet, because I've got to sharpen it, bit of a tidy up, and then I can talk about it. Well, good morning. It's Saturday. Nice cup of coffee. And before I go through the conclusion of this friction folder build, I just want to show you how I store my belts. But first I've got to sort them out. My lovely wife has just brought me some guavas she's picked off the tree, cleaned them up for me, keeping me nice and healthy. Fantastic. I love guavas.
So, it says 50, but 50 and 60, these are the rough belts. 120, 180, and a couple of 240s. Now, they're going to fall through if I just bend it once, so. And so these ones on the end here, they're sort of 400 through to finishing belts.
Boom. Brief interlude. I suffer from migraines, and I just had a migraine come on, so I don't feel too great, but I'm going to get on with this. Have to move on, get things done. So, coffee drank, guavas eaten, migraine done. Alright then, so this is a review, a critical review I hope, of my own knife build. Right, Now then, with all these friction folder builds, just for the fun of it, as I critique it, I'm going to give myself a score, and the scores will be out of 40 based on certain criteria, and they'll be scored out of 10 are design, functionality, build quality, and just a basic do I like it design. I really like this design. I went through lots and lots of drawing on Auto Sketch is what I draw on. Just to give you an idea, I went through all these different designs, iterations. This is one I'm going to make, another one, and another one. And so, you know, the design doesn't come lightly. It comes with a lot of work involved in it too. Alright, so getting back to it, the design of this I'm really happy with. I give myself some really good points for it. I love the flowing lines. I love the slightly more angular look of the handle and the scales. I like the way that the scales don't come all the way down to the front or the front of the liners in the ricasso area. I like the jewelling of it, although it wasn't very well done in this particular case, but yeah, I think it's a really good design. I give myself good points for it. It's very tactile, it's a great knife to hold, and for that I give myself 9 out of 10 for this. So next I have functionality. Does it do what it's supposed to do? Well, yes, it does. It folds. I can open and close it in one hand. It does the job. It cuts. So functionality, it works incredibly well. I also give myself some good scores for that, so it's also a 9 out of 10. So next we've got build quality. Now here's where I drop a few points. Let me say that this is a prototype, and I have a habit of just doing what I need to do to get the thing working. So there are lots of things that I think are wrong with this knife as far as build quality go. What I call jewelling on here is not even. So what's happened is the centerpiece that the sandpaper's wrapped around was a piece of steel, and I didn't realise I was going that far, and it's made little tiny dimples where the jewelling is, so that wasn't great. There were certain things that didn't come out too well, like I didn't bring the scale right out to the edge of here, because when I glued it on it slipped. The plunge lines are not quite even, so it's slightly rounder at the top of this plunge line, and here it's squarer, because this side I had the belt hanging over a lot more than this one, things like that. The fact that I've just glued the scales straight to the liners is not really a good idea. So from that point of view, I would say the build quality isn't great. One thing I really did well though, initially this blade wasn't closing in the centre, but I think you can see there, hopefully that stays in focus, it is absolutely smack bang in the middle of the liners, and that's one really important thing for folding knives, and I'm so glad I got that right. Making my own phosphor bronze washers was a really good idea, because I do believe that's why this operates like it does, and it's really nice and smooth. It may not look it, but it is very smooth for smooth action. So the build quality, I lose a few points, and I give myself 5 out of 10. And finally, it's just a basic, do I like it? And how much do I like it? Well, I guess for the first build, I really do like it. In general, I really do like it. It is a little bit too heavy. If you had that in your pocket, it doesn't have a pocket clip, if you had that in the pocket, I'm sure that'll weigh your pocket down. And the other thing is, it is a wee bit too big, really, for a pocket knife. At the moment, I just keep it in this fixed blade sheath, because it's the only place. The other ones, the belt pouches I've got, are just not big enough, because it is too long, and that's particularly why when I start building the next one I am going to make them shorter, so they're a bit more like a pocket knife. I absolutely detest pocket clips. They look ugly, they feel bad when you're using the knife. I'd much rather have a belt pouch and put it in there. And that's what I will eventually be doing with this if I build it again. So yes, in short, I'm really pleased with it. I give myself 8 out of 10. So that gives me 31 out of 40. I'd say around about 30 out of 40 I think is pretty good for my first knife build. So from here I'm on to the next build. So it's going to be an all timber build. It's going to be a combination of steel pins and some timber pins that I've just made. I'll probably get on to that later on today. I just do this, it's a little bit of fun. I think I've said before, I'll never make a cent, I don't think, out of this channel. It would really be good though if what I do is liked by a few more people than it is, and I really do appreciate the subscribers that come along, probably 1 or 2 a month. So yeah, I'll be soon heading towards 200, and when I do, I'm going to give one of these friction folders away. So if you want to be in it, subscribe and hit the bell for updates. I personally am subscribed to about 50 channels. No skin off my nose, it's free, and it's my way of supporting those channels that I learn from. So there it is, my first friction folder build, and I really enjoyed building it. So from sunny Perth, you have a good weekend, and I'll see you again for video number 4 very soon.